Again, we are talking about the role, what we can do. Again, we are talking about the life cycle, whether it could be a product, process, anything. What does a BA do? How can we contribute? It starts with the scoping requirements, modeling, creating the model analysis, wireframes, the mockups. We're talking about the profiles, user profiles and personas. I talked about it briefly. So we were talking about creating some kind of user profile, a sample user profile. How will our user look like? How will our customer look like? What are the kind of characteristics that they have? So we create personas, fictitious personas about it. A Barbara, a Sita, a John. So how would that be? How old could that be? What are the kind of experience that they have? What are the kind of applications that John would use typically? So we have this fictitious character, rough identification of John. And then whatever features that we're trying to develop, we can actually kind of see whether John could use it, Sita could use it, or somebody else, Barbara could use it. So, and then we would have to do the reviews and the feedback, and we would need to do the heuristic evaluation, the reviews, testing, validation, verification, all of these, all the kind of different tests that we're doing. And then as Uzma mentioned, we would also have the data or the analytics side of things, where we would need to create some kind of models, work with the teams. So for example, sometimes we need to work with the newly launched product, understand how the usage is. For example, we can actually go through the Google Analytics, see the traffic, see the kind of which page has been most popular, what is clicked, how are the people coming into our website, what are the kind of sources, are they using mobile phones or web browser? All of these, they're all analytics again. So we could use the usage analytics as what they call. So all of these are important as BA. We need to engage in each of them. So we need to just quickly going through each of them. As BAs, we did mention some of these already in the previous sessions, but I would like to cover because it's important that you understand this and get a grip on what BAs really do when it comes to generating the value to our customers and users. So we need to define, more importantly, what is out of scope than what is in scope. This I think is very, very vital. So when we try and fix a set of boundaries against something, we need to actually say that this is what we're going to deliver, or this system is actually what we're going to deliver, and what it is not delivering. What are the things that are outside the purview, outside the realm of this particular application? So all of that, and that's where we were talking about the interfaces, right? The interfaces or integration with other products, other applications, other systems, other technologies, all of those would come in. And then when it comes to managing requirements, we also need to we define, that's what I call as elicitation. That is the gathering of the requirements. You elicit, you don't just write down what you're told. As BAs, we need to gather, we need to elicit the requirement. We need to kind of put on a Sherlock Holmes hat and then make sure that we play a detective role, make sure that we connect the dots, identify where the problems are, where are the issues, what are the challenges, constraints, opportunities, needs. And then we need to do that elicitation process. Once that is done, we need to do the identification. So we do the where the problem really lies. So that's where the identification of the problem. Then we need to do the communication. We need to actually write that down, specification in a format that the people would understand. And then we need to help the team to transition from the problem space to the solution space, the recommendation of the solution, and then making sure that it's actually kind of implemented. And then we need to validation and verification of that. So we need to validate that. We need to test it, whether it is actually kind of fixing it to the stuff. So there's so much more to a BA than what you can actually see as requirements. It's much more than that. And then we create models. I think we talked about it already, the BPMN models for process flows and process improvement workflows and things like that. UML models for product. Whenever you have got a software application that you're trying to develop, you can create UML models, again, use cases, context diagrams, class diagrams, collaboration sequence, activity diagrams, ER, data model. All of these are different models. We create that. And then of course, we did touch upon these kind of fidelity of the prototypes, right? So low fidelity is basically, create something and then just throw it, use and throw. Medium is where you have got some kind of code involved, HTML, CSS, and then you can use it. And .NET, for example, if you're using a .NET code or a Java code or something where you can actually build on the top of that, use it as a demo. And if it's working, to show the navigation, the interaction, the presentation, the content, how it's all structured. And then once you get the feedback, if you can use that and then try and improve or create the final product, then that's a very high fidelity prototype as what we call. So that's something which we can actually, depending on the situation, we can be involved in creating those. Again, wireframes will be then, once we have the overall user experience strategy created, are we creating a mobile phone, a mobile app, or are we creating an enterprise app? Depending on that, depending on the target audience and the users and the usage scenarios, we could then create the wireframes. Again, we can use OmniGraffle, we can use these kind of different things to, why is it required? Because this is my habit, that I would actually try to create this wireframe so that the development team understands. They can't, I mean, why should we leave everything to imagination? Instead of that, we can actually kind of use the technology and the tools nowadays that we have to create something that gives an idea for them that, hey, by the way, this is how it should look like. And this is how it should feel like, instead of just, okay, just do something and then create this. So I would always have that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a wireframe is actually worth a good 1,000 pictures. So it's important we can create these wireframes as BAs. Again, sketches, mockups, proposed solution, anything to do with the proposed solution, you can try and create that with this. I've used iRise as one of the tools, which is a good mockup tool. Gives a good exe file to actually can run anywhere, and then people can actually try and do it on their own machines, the stakeholders. We talked about the personas, the profiles. It's very important that you create the profiles of the person, of the customers. I'm happy to actually share artifacts from all of these maybe in some other time, maybe in the techniques course the next week. I'll share with you some of the profiles, user profiles that I created. Screeners, like I use screeners to actually select the users for the different user studies. So we'll go through each of those. I can also show you some personas I created in the process. So all of these are helpful for us to kind of get to the real customers, and then perform reviews of products, process, work models, give feedback in time, and then do the testing. Again, different black box testing is what we call. Most of the software professionals and most of the BAs in the IT industry are good for actually doing the black box testing, where we don't have to worry about what technology is used or the specifics of what is it that we are trying to, that the specific code blocks or the coding practices, we don't have to worry about it. So black box testing is all about what, it's like a black box, the product, and then what is given as input and what is the output. So that's all you need to worry about. You don't have to really worry about the internal engine. It's like you're driving a car. You don't have to worry about the specific of how the carburetor works, or how the radiator works, and whether it's getting really heat or not, where the engine, where the spark plug, how the spark plug is connecting this. All of these, you don't have to worry. As a driver of a car, as an owner of a car, what you really need to worry about is just the fact that it is actually in drivable condition and you can actually drive it. You don't have to worry and open the bonnet and know everything, even though that knowledge helps, but it's not required at all sometimes. The same with BA as well. And then when it comes to the analytics, we talked about the ER models, the data model that we were mentioning the last time around. Very, very important again to be able to create these conceptual model. It's not the physical, the actual, you're not required as BA to create a SQL physical model or an Oracle database model. What we as BAs could help is basically some kind of a conceptual data model, identification of the entities, customer, account, order, invoice, all these things. And then these are the entities, logical entities, and then how they're connected. A customer can create an order. So create order, customer is related to order in that way. Order can have multiple products. So they have got order and then product. And each order can have one to many products. So that's called multiplicity. So creation of entities and then linking up those entities using relationships, and then linking those relationships with the multiplicity as what we call one-to-one, one to many, many to many. So all of these. So basically this kind of understanding, this kind of output, if you can try and deliver as BA, I think that's more than enough. That would be a good help for the architect, for the development team. So this is what we were talking about, the conceptual model and the logical data model. You don't have to worry about the physical data model, which is, again, the DBAs would be able to create, the database administrators. They can create these physical models.